Hi guys, Tornado Knight here with part 2 of What If Goku Was a Girl. To quickly recap the first part of this story, Goku, or Karata, was born on the planet Vegeta in 736 to the lowly Saiyan warrior Gin. Gin decides that because she's a lowly Saiyan warrior, her daughter will also be a lowly Saiyan warrior, and she's going to prepare her for the life of someone who is lowly. She decides that just in case her daughter is sent away to another planet, she's going to create a private program just for her daughter to prepare her to blend in with locals, to learn new trades, and to try to never return to the planet Vegeta because she's quite miserable with her own life and doesn't want the same fate for her own daughter. Gin's job on the planet Vegeta is to watch over another young Saiyan named Prince Vegeta. While watching Prince Vegeta, she overhears a conversation between King Vegeta and another character that we're familiar with, Paragus, the guardian of Broly. Paragus wants his son, Broly, to be the king of planet Vegeta. Of course, King Vegeta is not going to allow anyone to supersede his son, so he promises Paragus that Broly will be a general of the Saiyan race, and Broly will get a choice of his own bride. Paragus decides at this moment that the most potentially powerful woman that he could choose is Gin's daughter Karata, because Karata is close to the young prince. Gin is scared and does not want this kind of future for the young Karata, so she decides to take off. Because she took off without saying goodnight to Vegeta, Vegeta is quite curious of what's happening, so Vegeta follows Gin. Vegeta watches as Gin finishes the final touches of a program that is clearly against all the rules that his father set in place. Vegeta then tells Gin, "I will allow you to get away with this, but you have to promise me that you will reprogram that program so that your daughter Karata is aware that someday I will seek her out, and I will reunite the two of you because I want you to be able to see your daughter someday." Gin reluctantly makes the changes and sends Karata off into space. Karata lands on the planet Earth a year earlier than Goku did in the original story, in 738 instead of 739, and of course there is no touching scene between Bardock and his son because Bardock disregarded Karata because Karata was a girl and he thought a girl would end up being weak. Karata, as a 2-year-old, is quite intelligent, but it still uses baby talk, and because Grandpa Gohan doesn't understand Karata, he still goes on to call the young Saiyan Goku. Here's where things are going to change. Because young Karata was sent into space with a program to blend in with the locals, to make herself a new home, and to not return to the planet Vegeta because she was already told that she would be weak, she's not going to fall off into a pit because of a violent nature. So she's not going to receive the brain damage that Goku originally received in Dragon Ball, making her initially smarter, and she will know more about her own heritage, which is going to be advantageous for her throughout the story. But Karata does not agree with her mother that she is destined to be weak. Instead, Karata decides to train with Master Gohan. Even though her speech patterns have not quite developed yet, she's quick to point things out to Grandpa Gohan about training, and she plays parts of her pod program for Gohan to inform him, yes, I want to be a fighter. And Gohan, being a student of Master Roshi, of course, is interested in seeing what this young alien from another world can do. He's quick to find out that this young alien is quite talented. Many years pass, and Gohan and the young Karata have actually become almost equals in grounds. At 7 years old, Gohan is quite aware that Gin is more powerful than most of the people on the planet Earth. But, much like Roshi, Gohan does not want Gin to know about, does not want Karata to know about this power, just like in the original story. But the difference in the original story and in this story is because Karata is aware of the Ozaru, Karata feels that now that she's stronger, she should be able to control the Ozaru. And Gohan, being a warrior, decides he wants to see what the Ozaru really can do. So, one night, Grandpa Gohan blindfolds Karata and takes her out to an open plain. No trees, no animals, just a wide open plateau. And tells the young Saiyan, I want you to remove your blindfold and look up at the moon. Karata, much like in the podcast video, the pod program videos and lessons, removes the blindfold and looks up at the moon. At first, nothing happens, and then, almost like a chilling call, the violent nature of a Saiyan completely takes over Karata. Grandpa Gohan is in shock as Karata grows 60, 70, 80, 100 times her natural size. Fur grows all throughout her body, and giant red eyes replace her black eyes. Her tail, which was quite small, is now gigantic, and Karata is screaming. Gohan tries to calm down Karata, but Karata does not care about what Gohan's warnings are. Karata starts to take punches at Gohan, missing barely and leaving craters in every single one of her punches. Karata's Ozaru form becomes enraged each time she misses Gohan and starts to fire volley blasts out of her mouth in random areas. Gohan manages to dodge several of the blasts. Quickly, however, Gohan realizes that the destructive power of this Ozaru might be enough to actually wipe out the whole planet Earth, or at least wipe out the population of Earth. Gohan, in desperation, decides to use his master's technique, one he knows that may cost him his own life. Summoning all of his power, Gohan uses a ultimate Kamehameha. The blast, like in true Dragon Ball fashion, misses the Ozaru as she jumps into the air, but Gohan shifts the blast direction straight at the Ozaru's tail. Gohan is unaware that the Ozaru's weakness is its tail and happens to luck out, blasting the tail into a million pieces. Unfortunately, the Great Ape did not miss with its last ki blast, directly hitting Gohan. As Karata falls, a large blast settles, and in it lies the body of Grandpa Gohan. Karata, completely unaware of the events, is passed out next to her grandfather's corpse. The following morning, Karata awakens to see her grandpa dead, and the valley around her completely destroyed. She realizes that the Ozaru is responsible rather quickly. Karata almost allows herself to cry, but remembers the parts of her pod program that told her the reason her family was so weak was their oversensitive emotions, that emotions for Saiyans were considered a weakness, and those who had emotions were almost like mutants. Karata screams, "Never again!" and reaches back for her tail, which is now gone. Karata is relieved to know that at least the monster known as the Ozaru can never return. Her next challenge, however, is finding a new master. Despite inadvertently killing Gohan, Karata still feels the need to continue her training, to honor Gohan and prove her mother wrong. Karata recalls Gohan's lessons and his mentioning of a master named Roshi. Karata returns home. She returns to the home she once shared with Gohan to collect a few things for the road, and an orange mystical ball with 4 stars. Gohan had always seemed very proud of the ball, and Karata decided she'd keep it as a memento. She also decided to bring with her the power pole and a portable recording for her pod lessons. A few changes to Goku's original character. 1. Goku, who we all know uses the flying Nimbus in Dragon Ball. Well, Karata will not be able to use Nimbus. Because Karata is fully aware that her Ozaru form killed her grandfather, the guilt that consumes her will be far too much for her to have the pure heart that she needs to ride on Nimbus. Luckily for the young Saiyan, because she didn't lose her memories of the pod lessons, in those pod lessons, Gin decided to leave a couple lessons for Karata. one of those lessons is flying, and another one of those lessons is ki sensing. Now, for the most part, Karata decides to walk, but she also decides that she should take up this flying skill and attempt to learn this ki sensing skill. With much struggling and practice, the flying she kind of starts to get. She's not great at it, but she starts to get it. The ki sensing, however, is a completely different story. Karata does figure out how to sense ki through the pod's lessons, but she can't distinguish strong keys from lower keys. It's like everything in the world has some form of ki, and she realizes pretty quickly that finding Roshi is not going to be as easy as she was hoping it would be. Karata instead finds herself running into bandits and thieves and fighters, who she's often able to defeat with one punch, much like in early Dragon Ball humorous scenes of single finger flicks to guys, sending them flying, as the young Goku had no problems fighting against lowly level humans. Karata is almost ready to consider returning home when she senses a huge ki coming from the Orin Temple. Unknown to Karata, the power she is sensing is that of several fighters, but it's the highest she's sensed in days. Karata takes flight in direction of the temple. Upon arrival, she sees a group of boys pushing a smaller boy in a circle. Karata lands next to the group and observes the ritual. A 7-year-old Krillin is being bullied while all the other kids and Temple Master laugh. Karata, although unfamiliar with human interaction, gets the hint that this is an unfair fight and steps in to help. With a few swift punches and kicks, the monks of Orin Temple are sent flying in multiple directions. Krillin watches stunned as a young female completely manhandles his entire temple. Now, it is important to note here that because the original Dragon Ball started really when Goku was 12 years old, and he's 7 in this Dragon Ball, he's actually going to start his journey, she's actually going to start her journey long before Bulma starts to look for the Dragon Balls. Meaning that it's not that Bulma's necessarily not going to be part of the story, but it's not going to be in the same fashion. Another big change. Karata looks around and realizes that the collection of power was not one person, but all of the people combined. She's disappointed and turns to leave, and Krillin grabs her hand. Hey, that was really amazing, thanks. Can you tell me how you did that? Karata considers Krillin's question and asks, have you ever heard of a kung fu master named Roshi? Well, of course I have. I even know where he lives. If you want, I can show you, if you're willing to take me with you. I've never seen anyone as strong as you in all my life. Karata realizes her ki sensing will only make finding Roshi take a lifetime, and accepts the young man's offer. Krillin says, oh boy, and asks her, what's your name? Karata considers the question. Should I go by Karata, or blend in and use Grandpa's name? Karata decides that from this point on, she is Son Goku, granddaughter of Gohan. And that's going to be the end of part 2 of What If Goku Was a Girl.